Are we good? The July 17th meeting of the Compliance and Amendments Committee is now in order
All right.
at 4:33. Thank you. First item, please.
Call to order and roll call on agenda changes.
Roll call.
Okay, so
Roll call.
Member Hinsey?
Present.
Member Hinsey present. Chair Kanata?
present.
Chair Kanata present. We have a quorum.
And we'd like to note that Member Highland is absent as he was unable to attend due to travel today.
Okay, and I don't think there's going to be any agenda changes.
There are no agenda changes.
Okay. Next item?
Item number 2, approval of the May 15, 2018 Compliance and Amendments Committee meeting minutes.
Okay.
Also move to approve the minutes.
Second, public comment on the approval of the minutes.
You didn't ask for approval of the agenda changes. Can you move up the jurisdictional things?
Ms. Rowe, they did not have any agenda changes to make, so they are moving on.
He did not ask for public comment on the agenda changes. Can you
There was
move?
no discussion on that.
Excuse
Ms.
me,
Chabot,
this is
please
my
have a seat.
public comment time.
Mr. Chabot, please have a seat right now.
There's no motion, so there's no public comment on the item.
Yeah. And we didn't have any agenda changes, so there's no public comment on agenda changes.
Thank you. So the next item is now there's public comment on the approval of the minutes. Seeing none, can we take that by acclamation? Okay. And now general public comment on items that this committee is responsible for, but not on the agenda tonight. Do we have the timer going?
Start the clock.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
On June 15, 2018, I was standing on Market and Spear Street at 8 a.m. in the morning when a female came up to me and stood 6 inches in front of me and took photos from her cell phone. I said nothing and taped a 58-second incident where she said, "What, you shoved me?" That's the wrong thing to do. Stop shoving me. Now I have to call the police. A few hours later, I learned this person was Ann Trickey of the San Francisco Arts Commission. She filed an assault report in the Tenderloin Station, even though this took place in the jurisdiction of the Central Station. She claimed I shoved her twice and was verbally abusive. This was a false report that was not investigated. As I showed my cell phone tape video of the incident to Lieutenant Jennifer Jackson. I don't know Ann Trickey, but I suggest she invents situations that suit her needs. There's no oversight at the Arts Commission, and I got no response from the San Francisco City Attorney's Office.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, general public comment is closed. Next item, please.
Call the next item. Okay.
But item number 4, file number 17104, hearing on the order of determination, complaint filed by Kathleen Courtney and the Russian Hill Community Association against Nicholas Foster and the Planning Department for allegedly violating Administrative Code Section 67.21 by failing to respond to a request for public records in a timely and or complete manner.
Okay. Kathleen, come on up. And for total transparency, I know Kathleen very well. We've worked on many neighborhood issues for many years together, but I'm fine with being the chair here, no issue.
Thank you very much, Chair Kanata. Kathleen Courtney, Russian Hill Community Association. We're here simply to bring this whole issue full circle. Victor has informed us about what the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force can do and cannot do. Real quick, some facts. March 17th, 2016, a request was put in for records having to do with 6th Street, Russell Street. We went through a planning commission hearing on the issue. We went through a Board of Appeal on this issue. It was several months later that we discovered that there was a document that we had requested that was not provided. The planning department finally acknowledged that there was a glitch on their computer, and our record was one of 1,300 records that were hidden. We have no idea what happened to those other records, and I don't think that there's been any effort to look at them. We acknowledge that we have received the file that was requested. It was given to us after all of our work. The reason that we're here is to see if we can help prevent these lapses in the future, and we had requested 3 things of the task force. 1, to ask the planning department to show that such lapses will be prevented in the future by requiring all planners to post documents on the property information map. 2, to require that all planners include this instruction in a comprehensive manual. And 3, that the director at the Planning Commission, the director of the Planning Department, inform the Planning Commission that they're doing this. Fact of the matter is, Commission Secretary Jonas Ionen acknowledged at the last hearing that he has a PowerPoint presentation that shows people how to technically load information on the improvement map, property improvement map, but that the Planning Department has no comprehensive policies and procedures to tell planners about the content and the timing of loading this. So again, as Victor has informed us, there's nothing that this commission can do other than be aware of the fact that the next step that we will take is requesting from the planning department their standard operating manuals to review them to see if they're sufficient for the job. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kathleen. And there's no one...
We were contacted by the planning department. The 2 people who are able to represent the department were unable to attend. I believe Ms. Silva is out on maternity leave, and Mr. Ionen has another meeting.
Okay, so Kathleen, this item should be closed out now fully.
Yep.
Correct? And yes. I would appreciate it from when you hear from the planning department to let us know that the manuals are there and that they're satisfactory.
We will follow up with you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I believe the motion should be to find that the planning department has complied with the order of determination and to file the matter.
Okay.
Also move.
Second. Public comment on the motion. Seeing no public comment, Can we have a roll call vote? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Member Hinsey?
Aye.
Member Hinsey, aye. Chair Kanata?
Aye.
Chair Kanata, aye. The motion passes.
Okay. Next item, please.
Item number 5, file number 18048, complaint filed by Rebecca Peacock against Supervisor Jane Kim of the Board of Supervisors for allegedly violating Administrative Code Section 67.29-7 and California Government Code Section 34090 by failing to maintain and preserve in a professional and businesslike manner all documents and correspondence, including but not limited to letters, emails, drafts, memorandum, invoices, reports, and proposals.
Okay, is the complainant here? Great, you have 5 minutes.
I have
Before we get started, I was wondering if there's a representative from Supervisor Kim's office present? Okay, I will try to contact their office and get them up. They did indicate they were going to show up today.
Okay.
3 for the committee and 1 for the record.
Thanks.
She's here. The representative from the supervisors is present.
Okay, great. And before you start, do you have one of these also for the respondents?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
But it seems like this is what she's going to talk off of.
This is what she's going to say, so,
I think it might be in my bag.
We can give you the more copy until you. Oh, you found
There
it.
it is.
I believe that the time will be 5 minutes
Right.
for each party. And just to note for future reference that any documents not presented 5 days before the meeting can be problematic and may not be accepted. But at this time, since this is only a preliminary hearing, I believe it's acceptable.
it's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This looks like fine.
Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, task force members. Thank you for hearing my complaint today. I want to recount to you an incident that took place on March 15th, 2018. On that date, a video was posted to the Jane Kim Facebook page showing Supervisor Kim at a rally at West Portal Station. I was disappointed with the politics of the rally and posted a critical comment on the video. Facebook has a feature known as Town Hall, where users can find their elected representatives and engage with them on the site. Another component of this is something called a constituent badge, a small black and white image of a courthouse that designates individual commenters as constituents of the elected official in question. My comment showed the constituent badge, indicating my comment was on the official page for my elected official and I was a verified constituent. Sometime after I posted my comment on the video, it was deleted from the Jane Kim Facebook page. There were a few other critical comments posted as well, also with constituent badges, and I suspected the video was deleted due to constituent and public backlash. I was alarmed by this because I was under the impression my interactions were on a designated public forum with certain guarantees of free speech. So the question today is, did Supervisor Kim violate various state and local ordinance pertaining to maintenance and destruction of public records by removing this video and related comments? Section 34090 subsection 5 of the California Government Code states, the city officer having custody of public records may, without approval of the legislative body or the written consent of the city attorney, cause to be destroyed any or all of the records if all the following conditions are complied with. And then goes on to list various ways that records can and must be preserved if the city officer must destroy the original. If the record cannot be preserved or duplicated, then, quote, every unreproducible page shall be permanently preserved in a manner that will afford easy reference, end quote. So it's not disputed that Supervisor Kim is a city officer or that the comments and video were destroyed. The question, as noted by the city attorney's memo, is whether or not the Facebook page was being used to conduct public business. I contend that the account was being used to conduct public business for the following reasons. First, it was listed in the, quote, town hall section as a page belonging to my elected representative. When I or other constituents commented, we had our constituent badges displayed. The page has been in existence since 2011, the same year that she was first elected supervisor. Other users were also posting directly to the page to engage Supervisor Kim on community issues and legislation. And lastly, the page has been used to promote Supervisor Kim's work as a supervisor, including policy discussion, updates on legislation and community events, and constituent engagements. Any reasonable person would consider this page a designated public forum based on these reasons, but there's also case law to support this as well. The recent Knight v. Trump case stated, quote, we hold that portions of the @real Donald Trump account, the interactive space where Twitter users may directly engage with the content of the president's tweets, are properly analyzed under the public forum doctrine set forth by the Supreme Court, that such space is a designated public forum, and that the blocking of the plaintiffs based on their political speech constitutes viewpoint discrimination that violates the First Amendment, end quote. This court case determined Donald Trump's Twitter account to be an interactive space and therefore a public forum. I think it's reasonable to say that Facebook is the same kind of interactive space as Twitter. It also seems clear that any record produced in a public forum would be a public record. The court case determined Donald Trump's Twitter account to be an interactive space and therefore a public forum. And furthermore, even if this was a personal account, there's also precedent from the City of San Jose versus Superior Court decision that held communications on personal electronic devices of personal accounts involving the conduct of the public's business may be public records subject to disclosure. So just to summarize, Supervisor Kim used a Facebook page that has always been used as a public forum to communicate with the public as an elected official, and therefore by deleting the comments of her constituents and her online posts, she destroyed public records and violated the First Amendment rights of her constituents and the public. I want to make it clear that Supervisor Kim is not the only elected official in San Francisco to engage in this behavior. There are many officials who have blocked or deleted individuals in violation of relevant law. I hope that the committee takes this opportunity to clarify proper use of social media for elected representatives. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody to speak on behalf of the complainant? Not yet.
Mr. Strauss, if you'd like to speak at this time, you can, but if you do, you will not be able to speak during public comment.
Yes.
You'll get 3 minutes. Or you can wait for public comment.
Okay. Can we have the respondent, please? And you get 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Noelle Young, attending on behalf of Supervisor Jane Kim. Thank you so much to the Sunshine Task Force Ordinance for taking the time to look into this matter. It is very simple. Supervisor Jane Kim did not attend the event in question as her role as supervisor. She does not maintain the Facebook account in her official role as supervisor, and no city resources or employees were invested in producing the post in question. That had nothing to do with our legislative office or city hall resources, and for that matter, they are not considered to be public records. The issue of a First Amendment right versus the maintenance of public records, those are two separate issues that are being conflated here. And I want to make the record clear that while there is a case study against Trump and his blocking users from Twitter, a First Amendment issue is completely different from the maintenance of public records. This body, the Sunshine Task Force Ordinance, is concerned if I am correct in regards to public records and making sure that they're accessible to the public when they exist. However, I believe that once a record no longer exists, then there's not a expiration date on when it has to be preserved. That's my understanding as well. And I'm just curious to know if we could read for the record what is constituted as a public record, so that way we can look at the definition and not go back and forth as to whether or not this is or is not a public record. Based on my time with the city attorney, we were advised that indeed Supervisor Kim's Facebook activity has not been in her official role as supervisor, and thus is not a part of our office, is not resourced by the city and county of San Francisco, and so it is not a public record. Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
Not now, thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Is there anybody to speak on behalf of the respondent? Seeing none, okay. So,
I have a question.
go ahead, Fiona.
The respondent?
Could the respondent come up, the supervisors?
Hello.
Hi. So you say that in your testimony you said that the video was not posted or taken by any city staff?
That is correct.
Do you know who made the post and who deleted the comment?
I do not know who posted the content, and I do not know who removed it. I just know that that was not something done under the purview of any of our city and county staff members or Supervisor Kim personally. There are a variety of different people who have access to it who are not affiliated with the city and county.
So Supervisor Kim never saw the post, or anyone on your staff never saw the post, or
to be quite honest with you, this situation came to our attention through the Sunshine Task Force when we received a complaint. Other than that, our legislative staff had no knowledge of the content being deleted.
Okay.
So what is Supervisor Kim's relationship to this Facebook account?
So this is not her city and county Facebook page. This is something that she operates on her as an individual, separate of her role of supervisor. And so along that vein, she is allowed to use her Facebook as I would be allowed to use my Facebook, in such that it is not a city and county official communication, such as our email account or our voicemail system from our office.
Would you mind if I ask a
Follow. Go ahead,
question?
Fiona.
So Supervisor Kim does, in some capacity, use this account then?
So what I will say is Jane Kim does use the account.
Sorry.
Supervisor Kim is different because she does not use this account in her official capacity as supervisor.
Bad choice of words there for that question. So, and is that made clear on this particular page?
I don't think that there is a title listed anywhere on her Facebook page.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
Yeah.
And the account, however, is used for city business, even though she's not even though you're saying she's not Supervisor Kim when she's on this account, on this page.
I mean, just as I am free to use my own personal account with things relating to me or that I care about or in my life, I would expect that is how the account is being used, and so it's no different from somebody's personal Facebook page.
All right. So the purpose of this meeting is to determine if the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force has jurisdiction and if the records are public. Mm-hmm. I believe, I believe that we do have jurisdiction and that the records are public because regardless of Supervisor Kim not acting as Supervisor Kim on this Facebook page, Jane Kim is a supervisor, an elected official of San Francisco, and precedent has been set where public officials using private social media should those records should fall under public records. There is the Sunshine Ordinance was written in 1996-ish, 1999, before the use of social media. The document needs updating for social media, and we have been having a dribbling of cases involving social media. So I'm going to contend that this is under our jurisdiction and it is a public record so that it goes up to the full task force where it can be discussed.
If I may, I was advised by the city attorney that for a space to be considered a public forum, it must be owned and or controlled by the city government, which Supervisor Kim's Facebook account is clearly not.
That's fine. We have a city attorney at the full task force meetings. So I believe this should go up to the full task force.
Yeah, I would follow up on this similar vein to what Chair Kanata's saying. When we send this up at this level, that doesn't necessarily mean we're recommending anything or that we even know what the next step for this is going to be at this point. With this particular case, given that we have had a dribbling of cases and that this is something that we're going to have to eventually deal with, we're just sending it up so that it can be discussed. We're not making any sort of assumptions or proclamations here at this level.
Correct.
I am curious to know that before this item moves forward, or when this item moves forward, rather, is it possible for the city attorney, I did ask the city attorney if they could write a legal response on our behalf, and they said that they typically do not provide that kind of counsel to the Board of Supervisors. And so being that is the case, we have recommendations from the city attorney's office, but again, I am not a lawyer, and so this is a matter that needs to be interpreted by a lawyer. And so I was curious to know if the Sunshine Task Force Ordinance can ask a lawyer from the city and county of San Francisco to establish whether or not this is or is not a public record before we reconvene.
That's the way.
We can ask the city attorney, the SOTF city attorney. However, they will most likely just provide code sections for the full task force to review on their own. and for
Would that information be made available to
Yes,
our office
definitely.
as well?
Absolutely.
if you have a list of questions or issues that you'd like our task force attorney to review, I would appreciate it, and we will forward them and ask them to be prepared to comment on that when it does get forwarded to the full task force.
And curious to know if legal counsel does decide that this is not a public record, which it is not, will we still have a need to reconvene, or will the city attorney just send out
Most
information?
likely, we will still need to come back
Okay.
to the hearing, as the city attorney can only make recommendations to this task force. It's still at the discretion of the task force
Yep.
to make their own determination based on advice.
Okay.
What we get from the city attorney really is just a advisory memorandum.
The same
It's
thing your
not-
department gets from your city
I see.
attorney, okay?
Okay.
So, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
And
So-
I will get that list from you, and we'll send it to our city attorney.
Thank you, much
Whatever you
appreciated.
can give us.
Thank you. We so appreciate your time and your willingness to explore this issue. We do understand that this is new territory for the Sunshine Task Force and for elected officials. Again, I do appreciate your time. Our office has been very mindful to maintain all public records. We have a very good track record of always responding to sunshine complaints that come through our official City Hall channels. And I think that if you were to look at our record as an office in producing those records, you would see an outstanding history of that. So there is no intention or effort to
Fine.
evade.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
so I
thank you.
think the motion should be that we have, the task force has jurisdiction and that the records are public, and this should be sent up to the full task force
With no recommendation.
with no recommendation, correct?
I will.
Even though it's not required, but would you like to allow the parties opportunity for rebuttals
I
or
just,
public comment?
yeah, we'll do that in public comment.
As
So let's get the motion in.
the motion is
so
to
move.
the motion is to find that the task force has jurisdiction and to refer it to the full task force for hearing on a future date
Without any recommendations.
with no recommendation.
Right, okay. Is there any public comment on the motion?
Mr. Strauss.
Good afternoon, and thank you for hearing this complaint. My name is Stephen Buss, and I'm a First Amendment enthusiast. I have no interest in punishing any individual elected official, but in establishing good policy and precedent to ensure the free speech rights of all people. This is a bipartisan issue. Elected officials on both sides are engaged in this illegal behavior, from Supervisor Kim deleting Facebook comments, to Supervisor Peskin blocking constituents on Twitter, to Mayor Breed doing the same and refusing to release her Twitter block list, which the task force itself has deemed to be a public record, a complaint which the task force has also forwarded to the district attorney. The need for clear rules around social media use, including a strict prohibition on deleting comments and blocking people, as well as strong enforcement of the document preservation laws, cannot be understated. The Knight First Amendment Institute v. Trump ruling found that the viewpoint-based exclusion of the individual plaintiffs from that designated public forum is proscribed by the First Amendment. It is unconstitutional for an elected official to block individuals or delete comments on the elected official's social media accounts when it is used to engage with the public. Supervisor Kim clearly used her @JaneKimCA Facebook page as an official means of communication with the public. She is a verified public official. Her page shows up in the Facebook town hall feature. Her constituents are probably identified as her constituents. She has posted about her policies and work her office is engaged in, and has responded to questions and comments from constituents. Any reasonable person would understand the @JaneKimCA account to be a designated public forum. It does not matter, as the supervisor's representative said, that the video was for her mayoral campaign. The fact is that it was posted from her public official account, and thus the comments from constituents were protected by the First Amendment, and both the post and comments were subject to document preservation laws. It may even be the case that using her public official account to engage in election-related activities was a misuse of government resources. The supervisor's representative claimed that the supervisor has never once used her Facebook account as an elected official. Are we to believe that she has never posted from the office? I'd like to remind the task force that those web browsing records themselves are sunshineable and can be proven. Are we to believe that no staff member of Supervisor Jane Kim has ever posted to the Facebook account in question? I think these are both wild accusations and clearly false. Both moderates and progressives are engaged in this illegal and irresponsible behavior, and it is imperative that the task force issues guidelines stating the following. 1. The social media accounts of elected officials are designated public forums, subject to the protections of the First Amendment, the San Francisco Municipal Code Section 8.3, California Public Records Act, the California Government Code Section 34090 and Section 34090 subsection 5, and the San Francisco Administrative Code Section 67.29-7. And 2, the social media accounts of elected officials shall not be used for election purposes. Thank you for considering this complaint and these suggested remedies. I urge this body to hold all elected officials accountable for their actions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on the motion? Seeing none.
I would just like to mention that the task force does not have jurisdiction over the Constitution or the First Amendment. This complaint is based solely on the Administrative Code Chapter 67 and the California Public Records Act, and just for all parties concerned.
Okay. Can we have a roll call on the motion?
Member Hensy.
Aye.
Member Hensy, aye. Chair Kanata.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay.
This matter will be forwarded to the full task force. Parties will be informed approximately 2 to 3 weeks prior to the meeting. And just so the parties know, the task force is having problems with membership at this time. We're waiting for new appointments, and until we get those new appointments, there may be a delay in hearings. And I'd just like to let the supervisor's office know that we will not be scheduling any more of your meetings on Tuesdays. We will be having special meetings prior to the full task force meeting on Wednesdays on all future occasions.
Okay. Thank you. Next item? Yeah.
Next item, item number 6, file number 18050, complaint filed by Don Chan against the Juvenile Probation Department for allegedly violating Administrative Code Section 67.21 by failing to respond to a request for public records in a timely and or complete manner.
Okay. Mr. Chan.
Before we continue, I'd just like to state that we did receive word from the Juvenile Probation Commission. They recently had a resignation of their representative, and their vice chair was unable to attend today's meeting. So they were unable to send a representative to today's meeting. I would suggest we take the information and possibly send it forward to the full task force for hearing.
Okay. So, Mr. Chan, you have 5 minutes.
Okay. There's not really much to say. This is the second complaint I filed against the Juvenile Probation Commission. The former one was of a similar nature, asking for a document. They did not have the document. This one is the same thing, but this was like, I asked for information, documents for an entire year, the year 2008. They do not have records of 2008, which is a real serious concern for me, that they have no archival records of anything that the Juvenile Probation Commission has done, thought about, talked about, acted on since their inception, and they were chartered in about 1991, 92, thereabouts. At the former complaint that I filed, the secretary to the commission admitted freely that they lack a lot of records. And so this 1 year of missing records, it seems to me a serious offense of them not only not being responsible and businesslike in keeping records, but it's like a destruction of public history, the governmental history. Nobody knows what happened, and that department has been, over time, a subject and topic of serious problems in the city and for the city and for how they treat juveniles. So I find it a serious a serious matter, not just a complaint that I wanted the information. Again, the last complaint I had, I still don't have that information because that document is missing, absent. And the question I'm left with after this is, so what? There doesn't seem to be any consequences of their violating that administrative act or law. And so that's my complaint. I would like to have the information, but more importantly, I would like to have the city maintain its historical record of what it does for the public or to the public. And this is a very important department for that. And the commission seems to be not really concerned.
Okay. So is this request for, are the records within in that same year from the last request?
No. This one is
Prior?
Subsequent to that. I made a request for a document for December 2007. The request this time was for meeting records of 2008, January to December. Okay. That's like just 12 recordings, minutes. There's no documents for that entire year. I find that very serious.
And I mean, this commission, if there are no documents from 2008, there's nothing this commission can do. The only if it was verifiable that the juvenile probation commission willfully got rid of the documents, then there's a possibility of sending the item to the ethics commission. But other than that,
willfully, negligently, they don't have them. They got rid of them somehow. They destroyed them, threw them away, whatever. It's still missing public documents. No archival history at all about this commission.
So I believe we have jurisdiction, and we'll send this up again to the full task force.
Appreciate it.
And have it discussed up there.
Can there be an answer to the question of what are the consequences, if any?
The thing is, the Sunshine Ordinance does not give any enforcement powers to this task force. The only enforcement authority would be the California court system through a lawsuit. However, if the documents don't exist, there's nothing they can really force them to do if they're already gone.
They can't penalize
them. They can probably, look at procedures for the future, but they wouldn't be able to do anything about the past.
But there's no punishment that can be leveled. So there's
not from this commission.
No, but from any of the commissions, like ethics or anything in the city, even
it's
on
the court system.
The court system.
Yes, California court system. On a local level, there is no punishment system.
Yeah. Well, then there's going to be no power to make them compile. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So
the motion would be to find that we have jurisdiction to forward to the task force with for a hearing without recommendation.
Right, correct.
So moved.
Second. Public comment on the motion. Seeing no public comment, let's call roll.
Member Hinsey.
Aye.
Member Hinsey, aye. Chair Kanata.
Aye.
Chair Kanata, aye. The motion passes.
Okay, so we're going to, for items 7 through 11, all we are here for is to determine if we have jurisdiction and if the records are public.
That is correct. Items 7 through 11, we are here to determine whether or not this task force has jurisdiction over the matter and that the records are public or not.
Right, so do we go through each individually? Or
just one motion. One motion for all of them will be acceptable.
Okay.
So I believe the motion would be to find that the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force has jurisdictions over items 7 through 11, and that the records in question are public.
Okay, and do we need to provide time for everybody to talk when we do it that way?
We can make that motion first.
Okay.
Would someone like to make that motion?
Sure, I'll so move.
And I'll second that motion. So
are there any parties who would like to comment on jurisdiction on their items? This is just for jurisdiction. Doesn't have to be any.
Okay.
On that motion, would you take a roll call vote, please?
So ma'am, who wanted to comment? So there's jurisdiction and there's determining that the records are public. That's all this is about, right? So when it goes up to the full task force, you can be up there and present a case. Okay, great. All right.
Yes, these matters will be scheduled before a committee in a future date and then eventually scheduled for the full task force.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'll go to committee first.
I will describe, hopefully we can talk about her case after we take this motion.
Okay. So let's have the vote. Oh, there was no public comment on the motion. Okay. All right. So roll call, please.
Member Hinsey?
Aye.
Member Hinsey, aye. Chair Kanata?
Aye.
Chair Kanata, aye.
Okay. So Victor.
The motion passes.
Yeah, motion
Motion
passes,
passes, yes.
I believe that Miss Walker would like to discuss her complaint. However, since this item was not scheduled for a hearing before the task force, we cannot discuss the merits of the complaint. Myself and I will talk to her after the meeting's over regarding her complaint, and hopefully we can give her some additional information.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor.
All right, so next item.
Announcements.
Yeah.
Next item, 12. Announcements, comments, questions, future agenda items, pending calendar by members of the committee.
I got nothing.
Hey, I don't have any announcements.
Next item.
And the last item.
Last item is adjournment.
Motion?
Okay. So moved.
I second. Okay, we take it by acclamation. Okay, so
Okay. The meeting is
The mi-
adjourned. Can you stop
5:15.
the clock? I mean, stop the recorder, please. Stop the recorder.
Less than an
The tape
hour.
recorder.
Nice.
We should stop the tape recorder so we don't have this extra talk on it.